Welcome to the Driven Moms Answering Adversity interview series, Stories of Success Through Setbacks from Mom Elevated. Together, we can shine a light on how normal challenges and struggles are, along with how we can overcome and rise above them. Today, we have Jennifer to share her story with us. I'm so excited. So, Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your story to get us started, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jessica. So I'm Jennifer Bennett. I'm the owner and founder of Get Desky, and I am a third generation woman entrepreneur. And I started my company with my mom.
That's so amazing. I love that so much. Also, how much fun is that name? Get Desky.
It is a lot of fun. So we have a lot of fun. And I have a fun, witty side, as we were talking about before we hopped in. I just love bringing fun to business, because so many times we think in business it has to be like this stuffy, like no personality, no fun, no wit, no banter back and forth. And why?
Yeah,
Like why can't we be ourselves?
right? My first business was TKO assisting based off my son and also Total Knockout, come on. So the entire website was about, like, boxing, and it was fun because I got to play with it, and I got a lot of people that were like, "Oh, this is super cute, and I like this theme," and that was really what drew people in, and it makes you a little bit different, so I love that so much. Um, how long have you been doing what you do?
So this company is 4 years old. It turned four last month. Um, Prior to that, I had been in real estate for 16 years. So I've been in entrepreneurship for a long time. I also lived it before I built it. So because my parents were entrepreneurs also, I got to learn a lot of the stuff just by pseudo being around them and living with them. And so it's been an interesting journey, and how I arrived here is by God's grace. But I love what I'm doing now. Like, as you could tell, like when we hopped on, you were like, whoa, you were really happy today.
Yes, which is great. Like, that's what it should be, I think, for most of it. I mean, there's gonna be days that you don't love it, but for the most part, when you can just enjoy
Hmm.
what you do, it makes it so
Yeah.
much better. I don't think I knew that you were in real estate for that long before this. That's a long time. What made you, because I feel like after 16 years, you probably had a pretty good rhythm and a system down for how things went. What made you decide to, like, "Nah, this isn't it. I'm gonna shift."
There was a combination of things. So it was COVID that really kind of made everybody go super fast and furious. Coupled with the broker that I was working with, I wanted to be a partner in their company, and they said we didn't know you well enough. And I was also working for his business partner doing Facebook ads. So it was a combination of too much real estate and not enough of things that I really enjoyed. And the straw that broke the camel's back is we don't know you well enough to make you a partner. And I was like, at that time, I was like, okay, that's time for an exit strategy. So that's when I did that. My mom and I had been talking about doing something together for a long time, and we could never nail down something. But when that happened, I was like, okay, let's go forward with this. And so we did, and Get Desky was born. We had a lot of different names, and we started off doing VA work, and we were going to do transaction coordination for real estate. But I was like, I don't even want to say those words for the
Yeah,
longest.
right.
And so I've finally gotten back to where I can at least say them, but I don't miss it.
Yeah,
I'm grateful for all of the opportunities that it gave me. I'm grateful for all the contacts it gave me. I'm grateful for all of the skills that it gave me and all that different stuff, but I'm happy to leave it where it's at.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, on a similar vein, what would you say if you could pinpoint one pivotal moment, what do you think is the biggest adversity that you've answered along all of that journey, and how? Like, what's the biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
So for me, for the longest time, my adversity challenge was one, I didn't graduate from college. And two, that there in the era that I grew up in, you were always kind of subtly said to girls was you can either be a really, really good wife and a mom, or you can have a career and you can be killer at it, but you can't do both. And for the love of God, don't do it at the same time. And when I did real estate, even when my oldest, who's now 20, was 3, I would take her to the real estate office when my husband was traveling, and I would have her sit under my cubicle desk, and I'd have her color and crayons and all the different stuff and her movies and things like that. And I'd be like, this is your space. You're going to stay here. Don't pester anybody. You got to go to the bathroom. Cool. But mom's going to work here. You're going to work under her desk. And so it really got me thinking, now that I'm thinking back at it, it's like, we can do that. Like, you just have to find the spaces that allow you to do that. And so it really got me thinking, like, there's so many other moms out there that need to know, like, you can do it both. Like, you can. It's going to look different. Is it going to be hard? Are there days where I love my children, but I don't like my children? Absolutely. And the same thing with my business. Love my business, but there are some days where I don't like it,
Yep.
for various reasons that businesses are business. Um, but that was my biggest main challenge for me was that. And then also my dad casts a really big shadow. And this
Mhm.
is not a knock to him. He's very well sought out in the power industry. And I did not understand that I had the same capabilities that he does because I was around him. I got to learn his mannerisms. I got to learn how, when people were trying to be deceitful or whatever, how to tactfully tell them, hey, you're kind of not being okay right now. Um,
Yeah.
and so for the longest time, I didn't think that I could be that leader that he's been so many different times in so many different situations. And when I launched Get Desky, my team forced me to be that. And now I'm like, I can go and I can do that. I can tell these people, like, this opportunity is here. I want you to fail forward. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay, but I'm also going to help you along the way. One of my ladies, her computer went out. We bought her a new computer. We didn't have to. It wasn't something we wanted to do because of just whatever. We did it because she needed that. That's what she needed to know in that moment, that people were going to show up and help her. And that's the only reason we did it. It wasn't any other reason. She was distraught about it because she was like, I want to work, but I can't. And I'm like, we got you.
That's incredible. And being able to be in a position to do that is so cool and so proud. But what an important skill too, to know to finally realize that you had that ability. Like not everybody has that tact. It can be learned for sure. But like being able to stand up and tell people without being portrayed as horrible, a horrible boss.
Oh, yes. A
is
lot of the times
is
women
a
in
skill.
business, when we do stand up for our boundaries and things like that, we're labeled as difficult.
Yes.
And being able to understand that, um, who it's coming from and why it's coming from them. If it's because they want to take advantage of us and they're labeling us as difficult, that's a them problem. And it's the problem of, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm going to throw a fit.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But also listen to the I hope that everybody hearing you can also hear just the way that you say things, and I tell this to my kids all the time. The way that you say things is so important, and it's not necessarily what you're saying, but how you're saying it can come across so because you're being direct, you're being, kinda I don't even know how to describe it. It is a leadership tone where you're like, "Yeah, I'm listening to you. I hear you." And it comes across as you are someone to pay attention to in the room. But it's not like aggressive and it doesn't come across as condescending. Like there's a tone and you can do that. You can develop that skill. It's so
Yeah.
amazing to listen to you.
Yeah, it takes practice. And it takes that self-confidence within. So when you fully absorb, like, I am worth being here, I am worth these different assets that I have, You move differently, you talk differently. You can also understand the undertones, but also the energy that's behind it. So there's three different ways that we communicate. And I just explained this to my daughter yesterday. So this is really cool. So there's three different ways we communicate at all times. So we do it with our words, we do it with our tone, and then we do it with our energy.
Mhm.
And a lot of people that are not in tune and self-aware to understand energy as well as the tone, they can misread the other two and think that somebody's being defiant and rude when in fact the intention behind it is I respect you enough to let you know, hey, this is my boundary. That's cool if you want to pass it, but that's not okay. And so you have to be able to understand all three of those simultaneously to be able to move forward and know like how to move differently.
I love that so much. When before we transitioned to homeschool, my son had gotten to the point where he had multiple teachers in school, and I was like, part of this is just learning your teachers, learning what they like, what they don't like. Like that is an important part of what I got from school, actually. What I learned from the school environment is just learning people because it's not always necessarily the task that you're doing or the assignment that you're doing. A lot of times it is just realizing who you're working with.
Yes. Yeah, and learning how you can mold those together to make sure that it's a successful project, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. Okay, so then what do you think it is about entrepreneurs specifically that makes us continue on through challenges without giving up when times get tough? Because you're also dealing with the personal things that are going on with your life and like there's not always a rhythm necessarily that you can fall into. I mean, that's we definitely put systems in place and stuff so that we have less of that, but when you're on that roller coaster, what is it that makes us continue on?
With all of the entrepreneurs that I've encountered, it comes down to the core mission or the dream that they have. And it is that driving force. So when they're actually able to fully tap into that and know like this is what I'm meant to do, it allows you to have those days where you can wake up and push through hard things. And it's that kind of that guiding force. And then when you also get to tap into that and actually go and do that, that even lights you up even more. So it's kind of like always having that reserve to fill your cup from. And so that's in its essence, that's what entrepreneurs have is they have this unbelievable like mission and vision. And a lot of the times they don't even fully comprehend what it is because they'll say something small like, I want to help moms. Okay, but how do you want to help moms? And it takes people actually asking, like, I want to help moms that were young, that had kids young and show them, like, I had my first kid when I was 20. She's 20 now. She's 9. Like it's gonna be hard, and I want to share that hope and that inspiration with them, but also the tactical skills that they can use to be present and be a provider for their kids and give their kids a better life than they even thought possible. That's deeper. That's a light that shines in the dark versus just I want to help moms.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Digging into the deeper meaning behind what it is you're doing. Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
no more surface level. I love that. I love that. And not only that, but like when you came on today, I knew you had a good day. I knew it was like it's palpable, you feel it, and that's something that you can carry on. That's like you said, you can
Yeah.
carry that through. If tomorrow's kind of a poopy day, you'll be like, "You know what? But yesterday I helped so many. I was able to help these guys. I'm still living off of a high that I had last week from an interview. Someone told me I was a really good interviewer, and I was like, I'm taking this with me for
It is like
years.
Neil Bank word. When you have a bad day, you gotta read all the good things.
Right. Absolutely. I actually keep a folder now. I didn't used to. I used to just kind of take things as they came, but now I'm really getting a lot better at like screenshotting and putting it in a folder. So I have that to come back to. It is very unique. It is a
Yes,
unique journey.
yes.
I love it. What? overall takeaway or lesson do you think that other mompreneurs would be able to use specifically from your experience?
I think a lot of entrepreneurs also have this notion that when they are being an entrepreneur and they're being a parent, that they have to parent over here and they have to be an entrepreneur over here. They coincide all the time. They clash. I bring my kids to events. People ask me to speak. Be like, cool, but I'm bringing my 9-year-old, and there's probably a chance I'm also bringing my mom and maybe my dad. So, you know, there's no happy medium. There's no balance. It is an ebb and a flow. There are times where my daughter is on our mastermind calls. There are times when she's crashing my client calls. There are times where she's creating Canva graphics for my stuff. There are times where my kids are in the car and I'm coaching someone. There is no fine line between, this is kid time and this is, my business time. They clash all the time. And you have to be okay with that, because the people that want to work with you, they already know you're a mom. Because somewhere on your social, somewhere, they already know. They already know. So own it. Let them know, like, hey, my kids are with me today. And you know what? The vast majority of people are going to be like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's awesome.
Yes. Ah, that's beautiful. I was just talking to somebody about how balance is BS. There is no such thing. It's more like a harmony. It's gonna flow, and you
Yeah.
want to find out what that flow looks like for you, because
Yeah.
it's not gonna look the same every day. Every day is gonna
No,
be different. One of
no.
my favorite sayings is some days are better than others, and that's 100% gonna be true. There was one time I lost a client because I was on an interview for a position, and this was years ago, so my youngest was just pretty little and barely walking, pulled over our art caddy on the call, and I was like, gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go. Appreciate this." And I knew that chances were slim I was getting that one, but you push forward. I got plenty others. It was fine. And it was something I laughed about later because, she was okay, thankfully. And it's just, you got to roll with the punches. It felt big and heavy that day. But looking back on it now, I'm like, you know what, though? I was there. She was there. And it was a safe environment, as much as it didn't sound like it at the time, I'm sure. But like, those things happen and you have to just move forward with it. And then, yeah. And just embrace it and let it be messy sometimes and
Yeah.
learn.
And you probably saved yourself a whole lot of
Yes.
heartache, because if even in that moment when that was going on, if that person was not able to give you grace when that's something that really could have turned serious, what would have happened when it had been something serious? There would have been friction, so that comes into the boundaries and the expectations of always being respectful to both sides. So you saved yourself so much headache from
Yeah.
that, because that person did not respect you.
Nope, absolutely. And that's so true. So, yeah, learning all of those things along the road and allowing yourself to, like, permission to let it be
Yes.
messy.
Yes.
I love that. What is the best way for others to find you if they want to learn more about you, work with you, just be in your essence?
They can find me at socialselling.getdesky /Jennifer.
Awesome. I'll have it in the description, obviously, but just that way, if they're listening, they can still find you. And then, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I love connecting with you.
I know. Yeah, we got to connect again.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap things up?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just reach out if you need her.
Yeah, reach out. Yes, I will connect with anybody and everybody. And secretly, my link has a way to connect with me.
Right. Shocking. I know. So surprising. I love that so much. Well, as always, your story is inspirational and your willingness to be open about it is very much appreciated and needed in this time. I think it's something that we are desperately seeking and missing is just that deeper connection and hearing other people's stories and knowing that, we're not as alone as we might think we are.
No, no. The only people that are alone is in your own inner thoughts. And this goes into, I know you've probably heard the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. That's the only place you're alone.
Yes. And you can get lost in it, so make sure you reach
Yeah.
out, get out there.
Yeah. The best thing that you can ever do is find a few good friends that when you are in those to say, hey, the ants are being whatever your keyword is, and then you can allow those people to pour into you.
I love that. And usually those people then know whether to ask if there's something specifically you need, or they'll know already what to give you, which is even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And for those of you out there facing your own adversity, know that you're not alone. That's why we're doing this. And when you need an extra hand or mind for brainstorming during your mompreneur journey, we would also love to work with you through the Mom Elevated Society, which now has Gift Yourself Grace. It's one of my favorite programs. It's quarterly. We reflect over goals, relationships, actions, connections, and expectations. So important. You'll find monthly check ins for goal setting and assessing also, and so much more for both your business and your mom life. And until next time, keep shooting for the stars.